Hey everyone, it's Kenlyn. Welcome back to my channel for the Astro and Energy Report for the week of, well, I'm already into Tuesday, April 8th and onward. We have a very big week, and I'm so glad that I'm back. It was an intense death portal, as I mentioned, that eclipse season was going to be a huge death portal. It turns out like I was the poster child of that death portal. It had my name on it. There were exact degree points. And so I wasn't able to do a video for that new moon in Aries on the 29th of March. It almost killed me. I wanted to do a video for that, but I had to let it go because I was in the middle of packing and cleaning and moving and getting on the road and going on this journey. This is what we do after this death portal. There's this liminal place, the place of integration, the place of really sitting with what the F just happened. And I'm still in that process. You can see I'm in a new place and I'll be a little nomadic for the next couple of months. But that's by design and by choice, because this reset that we got in the eclipse affected all of us differently. You know, it does that because there are certain concentrations in signs. So that was really heavily Virgo Pisces in that eclipse portal. And now we're moving into a Libra full moon. But Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is still retrograde, but she will be turning direct on the same time as that full moon in Libra. So we're really not out of the woods yet. It's a very intense time. You can just read the news and feel the collective fear of the unknown, the collective uncertainty, the collective all kinds of things, skittishness, irritation, anxiety that's in the field right now. And so, as divine feminine women, as light workers, we get to really do our work. This is the time that we said yes to being here so that we could really do our work and show up as a pillar. And that doesn't mean that you have to tell anybody what to do. It just simply means even when you walk through the grocery store, walking through the grocery store with presence. So really, what would that take? It would take nurturing at a certain level, care at a certain level, solitude, silence, stillness. I mean, that's been the hallmark with we had Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde, personal planets retrograding, not giving us access to information. Well, we know that Mercury went direct. I believe it was yesterday. So we're now in this post direct shadow, and we'll be free and clear for a while. And it's also Mercury went direct in Pisces, which is kind of like goo, going direct in goo, in primordial ooze. So, not a lot of clarity quite yet, but it's coming. And there's still releasing to do because we're coming to a full moon in Libra. So, if you think about Libra, it's really relationships, the other, and senses of justice, the scales. Balance is another principle of Libra. So I think we're working through where have we been so imbalanced? So if we really consider that the reboot in the eclipse season and the squares and the oppositions and the retrogrades, although maybe brutal, and certainly for me, brutal, a total opportunity of reconsideration of the path. You know, sometimes our path takes on a life of its own, and before you know it, you're committed to something that you're like, whoa, wait, I never said yes to this. I said yes to the thing back here, but then it snowballed into this. And all of these influences and energies are giving us an opportunity to ask the deeper questions about what do I really want? You know, you think about when the world is, quote, falling apart, like the vestiges of structure that are falling apart, it kind of gives us this license. This is the upside of that. If we're not anxious and gripping, we actually have the license to be free. Like, well, that structure's not going to last anyway. So what would I want if I had to completely reinvent, like the phoenix, burning down into ashes, coming to nothing, and still I rise. And so we're not there yet. That's what's going to happen as Mars moves out of Cancer. Mars has been in Cancer, feels like forever. And he doesn't like it there. And she, the moon, the mother, does not like that bro influence. So it has been responsible for so many of our intense energies. And certainly there's coming up a point where Mars will be at the last degree of Cancer and beginning degrees of Leo, which is an opposition to Pluto. And those signatures have produced war and violence. And so we're not quite done with that signature that then once it moves forward will move into a new energy. And so it's not really about like let's get through it. I know I say it in that way. And there are lessons in the thing itself. So we've got that energy. We have the retrogrades energy that are now turning. So Mercury is turning in Pisces. Mercury will move into Aries, and there will be just a lot more motion. But right now, Mercury is actually conjunct the North Node. Let me just see if that's actually true for right now. Yeah, it's conjunct the North Node because that means they're at the later degrees of Pisces. And so there could be some downloads about your purpose, about where you're going, about where you're headed. You know, the coaching industry in particular has gone through what I think is more of a Saturn in Pisces reclamation. You know, when Neptune entered Pisces in 2011, that's really when spirituality just blossomed. And that stint, now Neptune is in Aries, will retrograde back into Pisces in, I believe, September. But we're really on course for a completely new normal. And then Saturn's finishing up in Pisces and will also go into Aries. So again, new normal territory is coming, but we're sort of reckoning ourselves with the spiritual maturity that we got too carried away, too into magical thinking, too full of ourselves, too much ego. And I'm going to speak about the spiritual and coaching industry because that's really the industry that I come from and know about. But I think there's a reckoning happening, and that reckoning is also economic. So the economics are playing into the marketing and the asking the worldview to elevate. Like, let's not play the game of promising things we can't deliver or overstating or becoming magical in your thinking, even though there's something beautiful about magic. But magical thinking is not magic. Magic loves structure. Magical thinking doesn't like structure or action. It just creates fantasies and expects God, Goddess, Spirit, Higher Self to do it for you. That's not the deal of our incarnation. So there's a lot of reclamation that's happening in our spirit world, in our coaching, in our personal growth world. And if you're called to be a coach, then you get to like dig in even deeper and become even more committed. And I've been talking about that in some videos because I'm supporting Linda Basso, my marketer, in this really beautiful offering that we have going on Friday called Your First Paying Client. And it is solid. So I love that as an antidote, an answer to, okay, I really do want to get on my Dharma, and I do feel my Dharma is to give my gifts. And I'm committed to the structure. That's Saturn. That Saturn is conjoined with Venus right now. I'm committed to that structure. So I feel like there's something brilliant in all of it. And it's also weeding out the people who don't have that commitment, who don't feel like it's their dharma, who don't have the chops for the crucible of coaching, healing, consulting, that kind of entrepreneurial venture. And there's no harm, no foul in that. I was just doing with uh, Divine Direction, we were talking about our unique codes. And some people have the code of working for a large organization. That's not entrepreneurial. So I really want to respect, and I hope you do too, how you are being guided during this time. And you can listen to the words coming out of your mouth. Are they positive around that current path that you chose? Are they longing for some other path? Oh, I just noticed that my microphone is, let's see what oh yeah, okay. Well, hopefully you can still hear me because it's not hooked up to my microphone right now. But I'm on a roll, so I'm just going to keep going. And, in the chrysalis, I can't afford to be perfect because it's just like a huge act to even show up and do anything. And you may know what I'm talking about because that eclipse was just absolutely tectonic. It just shifted the foundational plates. And so back to what I was sharing, I think it's time to start asking, and it has been time to start asking the deeper questions. And so Venus conjunct Saturn is going to want you to talk about foundations. What are your foundations going forward? I think that's on the minds of so many people when we see that we can't really rely on, like, for example, one source of income. We can't really rely on our jobs. We can't really rely on the market space to just do what it's always done. Everything shifts and changes, and we're seeing it on steroids and very quickly, which is so disorienting. So I want a presence that the idea of our purpose is full on and strong in this full moon. So when we think about letting go, let's let go of, I mean, by now, like so much, I don't even know, like knock on wood, like I don't even know what else to let go of, except what there's always to let go of is self-concepts, self-identity, ways that we see ourselves. Because what I've said, like in Divine Direction, what I said to the sisters was, what got you here will not take you where you want to go. If you're a visionary. If you don't have any vision, then this is a moot question. But if you have vision, if you are here to do something, if you've got fire in your belly and you do, but maybe you don't know what it is, and the how and the what and all that, that's really none of your business. It will come. But you have the fire and you're willing to take action, even when the action is, let's say, uncomfortable. Like by now, the whole thing has been uncomfortable. So you're probably a yes to that. So you're here and you're ready to take action. What is the thing that's going to make the difference in where you're going, where you want to go? It's your internal visualization of you doing that. Because there's no goal. There's no having without you already being it. Do you get what I'm saying? I mean, this is like super money. That line I just said, write this down. There's no goal. There's no having anything other than who you already are. I've been totally doing this during my Venus sadhana, this Venus retrograde. It's like tracked Lent, right? In the Christian faith, it's tracked this time of emptying. So I'm empty out of the beliefs of who you thought you were. And it doesn't mean make up stuff and force yourself to believe it. It means source deeper, play with it in your imagination. Can you imagine? Start visualizing and playing with scenes, because that's how we create. Believe it or not, we think we might create more of the mind. Well, and we do, but not the thinking mind, the imaginative mind. It's a creation. And ultimately, what we notice when we do that thing over and over is that effortlessly it just happens, because the body mind is entrained in what you tell it to create. So I've been playing with, who am I? Who do I say I am, as a generative act, not as a past looking act. And it takes discipline, because the mind likes to go in the grooves that you've already cut for it. So now it's time to cut new grooves. And I think that is what gets to be released as these last vestiges of this Libra full moon, who's ruled by Venus. And so, we'll have another Venus option, because we'll have a Taurus new moon, and that's ruled by Venus. So how beautiful. She will be out of a retrograde cycle and really supporting us in our materiality, meaning what we have and the finances around it. So the stock market crashing is totally correlative with Venus retrograde. And some astrologers say in a malefic enclosure when she was between the North Node and Saturn, just being squished. I mean, there's lots of factors, but she's being liberated. Mars is going to be liberated. He's going into a fire sign on the 18th of April. So we're going to have more fire. Right now, we're in the last stages of water. Ooh. So I hope that you're hearing how you can give yourself some extra time to follow the inner promptings. And maybe that includes joining us on Friday for a free workshop, because we're totally going to get you in the trenches of your business. And it's free. You might as well, if you are a coach, healer, consultant, and you're committed to that, get there. But whatever you are and whatever you do, taking action, taking steps, being prompted, and then listening to the feedback, listening to the world, looking at the world out there. Are there obstacles? And that's a tough one, because generators, you're here to overcome obstacles. I'm sorry. We've gotten all that wrong. Obstacles actually make you stronger. And there's a lot of discernment that's required, because some obstacles are just a no-go. And that's where we get to rely deeply on our intuition. And all of this is a work in progress. We are currently being massively up-leveled. And yet it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it to me at all. And I'm really holding space for that depth of churning, that depth of change, that depth of letting go, of reconsideration, the depth of loss, the depth of grieving, letting that go, and focusing my drishti on that new imagination, seeing myself in my imagination aligned with a new normal, new goals, being someone who. That takes like walking, on nature walks and just playing with that, instead of going down the rabbit hole, thinking things about the economy or the president or the politics. Like, don't do that. Discipline your mind. Watch a couple of YouTube videos and then done. Put that aside, move over, and discipline yourself to create yourself, to recreate yourself, to give yourself imaginations and pictures of who you really are. Like you must already be that. In order to have it, you must already be that. So that's your marching orders. That's your plan. This is this is what you get to do for the Venus and in Libra, the Libra full moon. So yeah, Venus is going direct. Things are going to start opening up and making more sense. And we're going to start getting more promptings and messages about our divine direction, where we need to go. So thank you for being here. I so appreciate you. I miss you when I'm not here. And I suspect that this will be a deeper unfolding as I move forward. So let us all gather the positive energy that we have generated. And it's sacred. All the things we've gone through, it's sacred. The losses, the grievings, the letting go, the shifting, the changings, all the ways our minds are not handling it. And that spirit self that signed up exactly for this, it's just sacred. So let's beam it out. Imagining gold light beaming from your hands, surrounding every single being, seen and unseen, on this planet, wrapping it in the essence of spirit. And we say together, may all beings benefit from the merits of our efforts.